Let's start the public comments period. We have one speaker, Rebecca Van Zandt. If you don't mind, Rebecca, go ahead. Your 3 minutes is starting when you start.
I want to start this with a little education lesson. Some commissioners have stood up here and said that you cannot have a resolution without codes and zoning. Well, this is false. I've spoken to multiple mayors throughout the state of Tennessee over the past few weeks, plus a few county attorneys. And the state has given each county the County of Powers Act, which allows each county to make a resolution. Even without codes and zoning, you can have a resolution in the county. I just want to clarify that because people have been so misinformed on this. The second thing I have to say is mainly to new candidates coming in, that I hope they will find a way to reach out to everybody in their district, because there's so many people in this county that isn't heard. They're too afraid to speak up. They're afraid of retaliation. They're afraid, well, a lot of them we got when we were petitioning would say, we're not going to be listened to anyway, so what's the good to say anything? So please, just don't take those people's word who comes to you and say, I don't want this. Try to reach out to other people in your district and talk to them, because as we found out when we was petitioning in this county, we'd go to districts where commissioners would say, my people don't want this, but yet every house that we went to, they would sign our petition. So that tells me either that commissioner don't know his people as well as he thinks he did, or he's just listening to those ones that's coming to him and saying, I don't want this. And there's a whole bunch of a big part of the community that's disconnected from this county for that very reason. And if you start off with, my people don't want this, those people aren't going to come to you because they figure you done made your mind up already. They're not going to be listened to. So why come to you with their problem? I just want to say, please keep an open mind and listen to everybody in your community. And try to make a compromise, because without compromise, this county is never going to grow in a positive direction. And thank you for listening.
That's the end of our public comments period. We have nobody else on the list. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call this regular session of the full commission to order. Everyone please rise for the invocation and for the pledge of allegiance. For the one that's introduced and
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day that you bless us with. We thank you for this time together. We thank you for this commission and all of those that are elected to serve the public in Stewart County and the state and the nation. Lord, go with us throughout this meeting. Let us be quick in wisdom and slow in anger, Lord. We leave here as friends when we leave. Lord, bless this body and bless this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please silence your phones and devices if you have them. Thank you. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Jimmy Mullins. Brian Keeper.
Yep.
Randall Redden. Drew Shepherd.
Yep.
Shane Cates.
Here.
Eric Watkins.
Here.
Terry Goodshue.
Here.
Vince Gray.
Here.
Melissa Fields.
Here.
Art Joe.
Here.
Andy Luton.
Here.
Lynn Mathis.
Here.
Jan Black. Mark York.
Here.
11 present, 3 absent.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. 11 present, 3 absent. We have a quorum to conduct business. The fifth item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have in front of you the April regular session, the June 20th called session, and the June 29th called session. Okay, we have no additions, subtractions, or changes. We have a motion to approve on the floor by Commissioner Dorch. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? number 6 is to approve the quarterly reports. You have your county general, sheriff's department, EMS, highway, general purpose school, and county extension. Do we have any questions on the quarterly reports? Do we have a motion to approve? So moved. Entertain a motion to approve by Commissioner Watkins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mathis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, quarterly reports passed. Number 7 on the agenda is to approve the notaries. We have one notary, and that's a renewal for Nadia Brigham. I'll entertain a motion to approve Nadia Brigham.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Mathis, second by Commissioner Jobe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Number 7 passes. Number 8 is to approve library board trustee appointments. You see the list in front of you. Rick Boyd, Melissa Parker, Daniel Perigo, Kim Hargis, Linda Hicklin, and Ski Witowski. Entertain a motion to approve the library board trustee appointments. Motion by Mr. George. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Luton. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Number 8 passes. Number 9 is surplus property. You see Stewart County Highway Department, Mayor's Office, and General Sessions and Circuit Court. There's also an attachment in your packet. Entertain a motion to approve surplus property. So moved by Commissioner Fields. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shepherd. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Last item on the agenda is new business. Do we have any new business?
Got a question.
Commissioner Gray.
I was wanting to ask the sheriff about keep hearing back and forth where I work and stuff about the sheriff department, the city on the,
About the radio.
yeah, the radios and everything.
Kind of a long story. I'll try to make it as quick as I can. A few months ago, I did move the sheriff's department to new channels on the radio. I had it moved to a new profile. And contrary to what you read in the papers, it didn't cost $10,000. It cost about $1,500 to do that. The reason, and let me tell you, nobody else had any input. I mean, nobody else made that decision. Frankie Gray made that decision. Mayor didn't make that decision. People come to me and said the mayor made that decision. No, the mayor didn't make that decision. Frankie Gray, it was my decision to make. But I'm not the bad guy here in doing that. I did that because the city, and they've got some good officers and they've got some good volunteers, but they did not do their due diligence in handing out these radios and keeping track of these radios. Unfortunately, they've got people, or had people, that felony convictions that had access to these radios. They've got people with criminal histories that got access to these radios. My guys serve high-risk search warrants. We execute arrest warrants, and I can't take a chance on people I don't know are people with criminal records that know what we're doing in those situations. Am I operating on the secrecy? If you said that, yes. In certain times, situations call for you on knowledge on need-to-know basis. And the general public oftentimes don't need to know where I'm going to serve a high-risk search warrant, or a drug search warrant, or an arrest warrant. Now, I had a meeting today with the mayor, the city, and Chief Honholt, and I told them exactly why I did that. And I'm not, at this point, I'm not willing to back up on it. But if they can rectify some of these problems, I'm open to put them back on the channel with us. Now, right now, they're operating on a separate channel. And I don't care what anybody tells you, in my opinion, it's no danger to anybody. The only thing we monitor, we turn our radio scan, we hear everything that's going on in the city. Clint Mathis can tell you, the dispatcher, if it's a 911 call, they'll put it out on both channels. they just can't hear what we're doing on that channel, the city can. We can hear what they're doing. They still have all their profiles. We just have the same thing, except we have a different profile besides that, where we can operate on our own channel and operate on our SWAT channel. So that's pretty much the reason I did that. Like I said, I'm open to working with the city, but to be honest with you, they made some mistakes, in my opinion, doing it, and that's how it all came about. I didn't want to publicize. I'm not endangering anybody in the public. I'm not putting anybody at risk. I'm not putting officers at risk. The only people who are put at risk, in my opinion, are my officers who we don't know. And there's a list of radios out there. And after this meeting today, they still could not tell me who had these radios. I know where the county's radios are. I know who's got them. And I know who's listening to them and who can use them. But I can't say that for the city radios, who at that time had all our law enforcement profiles and still does. But we are on our own channel, so that's why I did it. So if anybody, I'm not putting anybody at risk. Sometimes you have to make decisions, and I made them. So that's where we're at.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only channel that y'all can talk to them on? Or is there other channels?
Yeah, there's other channels that we can go on. They got all in Clint can probably tell you, Mr. Massey can probably tell you exactly how many channels it is. But there are channels that they can't talk to us on now, but we can switch over and talk to them.
I was gonna say, Clint, is there mutual channels other than that one frequent?
There are numerous.
So even if we go to another channel to talk to them, the people who've got the radio, that I don't know who's got them, can still hear us. But with one push of button, tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. Matthews, one push of button, he can tie all these radios back in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
911 broadcast, if they need us, they broadcast to us. And until there's somebody to get a camera on hand on portable radio, it's not ready. Now, the Park Service, Corps Engineers, LBL, who all deal with us, asked to come on these channels. I agreed to let them on there. And I was questioned about that. Why are they on there and we're not on there? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, they deal with us. They don't deal with the city. They between Lakes don't deal with the city. Corps Engineers don't deal with the city. Park Service, and if they need them, they still got that channel. But they're not handing out any radios to anybody. They don't have radios, extra radios that they've given out. They're not giving anybody out. They don't have reserves that they give radios to. So they know where the radio's at. So I'm not worried, and I don't care if the Park Service has that channel, our channel, and our SWAT group, because they're law enforcement. I'm not worried about that. But I have got concerns with people who've got felony records and criminal records, knowing what we're doing and where we're going to serve search warrants. That's what's behind it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Sheriff Gray? Any other new business?
One other
Commissioner
question. I know we had a big discussion on the IDB board, but we didn't really have a discussion on it. Kind of wasn't one-sided, but I was trying to debate. I heard so many people ask about commissioners being on there. So I didn't know exactly about it, so I looked up a whole bunch, and the IDB board was mostly, when I looked at the state of Tennessee, mostly it was all cities. Anyone that had a county was connected with the city. The city and county joint thing. So I was going to ask the lawyer here, I know it's a question of the county commissioner to be put on the IDB board.
My understanding is if it's a joint board, yes, elected officials can. If it's a county only, no. That's CTAS, my reading, it does have specific language in there. It cannot be an employee of the county. It can be an elected official.
And the only other thing is the IDB board really can't do anything without the county's approval.
They are their own entity, and they do have some powers. But my understanding and CTAS explanation is 90% of it is that I got to come to this commission. This commission is going to have to grant them certain powers anyway, such as pilot programs, TIP programs, which are have some power. There are some boards that are the spearhead for their entire county as far as growth. McKinsey is huge. Their IDB, which it's the city and county together. Anything you see over there, they've got their hands on it somehow. Nashville, Davidson County, same way. But there are limitations, I guess, to answer your question.
Commissioner, if you grant them, if this body grants them a funding stream, they do have the ability to spend it as they wish. But you would have to grant that to them, approve that for you.
And I spoke with the Chairman Higgs, but, we discussed the open meetings, and I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I think they had discussed, or maybe had a motion about recordings, but I think that issue might come off the table, but the open meetings, he explained to me that all of them are gonna be open. So, the executive session, I gave my opinion of it. I'm gonna do some more research to try to provide them some, not guidance, but my opinion of it from the county attorney's perspective, but they also could hire their own attorney as well. So, I mean, they are their own entity. They're there for those terms unless they decide to dissolve themselves.
Any further questions about the IDB of Stewart County? Any other new business?
Excuse me, I have some old new business, some new old business. I wanted to discuss again and put it as a motion about meeting every other month. It just gives us, how many call meetings have we had so far since January? I think that for me, I've got people running against me, so I may not be here at the next meeting, but I think for me, it gives me an opportunity, and I hope for everybody else, to plan around. I know that, the meetings that I missed the last time were called, or in the past 4 years were called meetings, because I already had things scheduled, that I had to attend. So I kind of like the idea of meeting every other month. If there's nothing, if we don't have a whole lot of business, again, like I mentioned the last time, maybe we can discuss some projects that we'd like to do in the community. And also, it does give the opportunity for our citizens to come in and speak more often. I've had people, and sometimes we have several, and sometimes we have none. But if we have none, that's okay. But it still gives opportunity for people to come in and speak, to us or to the commission more often. But I mean, I know some people, some commissioners didn't care for the idea, but sometimes we miss a meeting, and if you can't make them all, that's okay too. I mean, as long as there's a quorum, we can do business. So I'd like to put it as a motion that we start meeting every other month.
So Commissioner, so you're framing this as a motion on the floor to have this full commission meet bi-monthly?
Yes.
Every other month?
And definitely, I think that we need, because we do spend so much time in June, I think that June would be one of those meetings.
And well, the finance director had expressed what her best month to start was. So do you remember what that was for her?
I don't even remember.
I think she was saying to start like always.
I think that she wanted June as one of the, one of those meetings.
6th. So August was that. So your motion is to have bi-monthly meetings starting in August every other month.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor,
I'll second it.
seconded by Commissioner Gray, to meet bi-monthly in this full commission starting in the month of August.
Yes.
Discussion. Commissioner Mackey.
Not that I'm against this, but for the attorney, does this have to be set by resolution? Do we have to have a resolution for regular schedule? So I thought I'd read that.
Yeah, usually the meetings are set by resolution.
So do we need to type up something and
We'll have to.
vote next
If
meeting?
it's passed, we
Or
probably can come back on the 26th.
I just want to make sure we do it right. That's what I'm-
So the answer from the council is that we would come back on the 26th with a proper resolution, if this was passed tonight. Further discussion? We have a motion on the floor. Do I ask the clerk to call the roll?
Yes.
Say yes. Ryan Taylor.
Yeah.
yes, 1 no. Motion passes. We'll have that resolution on the 26th. Any other new business?
Oh, well, here I go again. I mentioned to some people that I wanted to check about, and I've already spoke with Mr. Sumner about, the logging companies and the damage that they're doing to the road. And I know from what he said that there's not a whole lot that we can do, to those companies. And I know people make their money, make their living logging, but there's so many roads in my district that are just tore up, and I think that I mentioned one particular place, and he said that he's gone out, and, a lot of these companies, or at least one of them has a metal tracks out on the, out on the road, and they've shredded a place out in Eagles Rest. So I wanted to be able to see if there was something that we could do to hold somebody else responsible. I feel like the county shouldn't be held be responsible for fixing the roads that are being damaged by, other companies or other people, but the highway superintendent said he didn't think there was much else that we could do. So I don't know if that's something that Charles can look into.
There is a criminal statute. Sheriff and I dealt with actually a logger a month or so ago that damaged the road. There is a criminal statute, of course, you can prove that. You can always look at, commission can look at some kind of impact fee. That stuff that probably would have to be more than this meeting tonight, but there is criminal statute or something you can prove.
And there's been several people that I've, being out campaigning that have mentioned impact fees for those kind of.
Let me make myself clear. Just usage of the road, I'm not sure what you do on that. But as far as if they damage it, drive a track vehicle across it, or damage it with a front bucket or something like that, I think that statute allows the sheriff department to break charges.
I know that it's an Eagles Rest, and I think the picture was on Facebook where the track vehicle was on, partly on the road. So it's surely that was the one that damaged it, but I can see, I just feel like, and I know, Ronnie's out there filling potholes, and, there's a lot of money coming out of the county budget having to fix the roads that these loggers are ruining. And I don't feel like it's our local logging companies that are doing that. I want to make that clear, that I don't feel like it's our local logging companies that are doing these things, but I just feel like it's a lot of money coming out of the county budget fixing roads that, that are being damaged by these companies. So, I don't know. I don't know. And I tell people all the time I don't know the answer. But, I know that you can find them, Ronnie's better at all these things, but I just see in District 5 there's at least three roads that are being damaged right now. And of course, on Taylor's Chapel, they lost their electricity 4 times in 2 weeks because the trees are falling across the electric lines.
So Commissioner, as Counselor said, usage, we can't go after them, they pay taxes on that. The damage, we can, possibly an impact fee, we can go after that. Would you be willing to head a subcommittee, maybe to look into what we could claim as damages or impact fee? Would there be any other commissioners, a couple other commissioners that would join with Commissioner Fields on this subcommittee, Commissioner Shepard?
I'd like to know what, Ronnie, if Ronnie wants to say anything about this, you or not.
We'll ask to suspend the rules. Make a motion to suspend the rules. Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ronnie, come on up.
I've got a lot of time to get on this, and yes, timber is an agricultural product, just like corn, tobacco. You cannot stop a log from logging. If you can't, like the one on Taylor's Chapel, me and Frankie dealt with, he damaged the road on purpose. We build ditches up, that I can do something about. I can get a warrant on them and have them that quick. If they're going up and down the road, and we'll use Eagles Rest, for example. We went in there and spent almost $100,000, had that road immaculate. 2 months later, this company comes in here, they're from Arkansas, but I'm not for sure about that. Anyways, they have 8,000 acres of timber to get out. They have a right to get their timber out. But out-of-town loggers is who I have most of my trouble with. Our local loggers, like Adam and them, zero problem. If I have an issue with them, all I can do is one phone call, and it's done. But the 18 loggers, they'll give me the bird and roll on. They don't care, but they know they got Farm Bureau and big people behind them, and there is nothing you can do. They can't have a tracked vehicle on the road. So I'm pretty sure the one out on Eagles Rest won't get back on the road. I go out and I warn them, talk to them as nice as I can be. Most of them's understanding, but the ones that's not from here, they give you their cussing and roll on, because they know there's nothing, unless they're overweight. Or low, they can't load in the road, they can't be overweight, and they gotta have a gravel coming into the road to keep them full of mud. The ones on 18, they follow the law by the letter. There's nothing you can do that I can find. And believe me, I spend many hours trying to find some way to get them to haul half loads or, you know, it's disheartening to go in there and you get these people this nice new road. And as soon as we get that new road done, that's when they want to start logging. But believe me, I've looked, I don't know what to do.
Commissioner Black brought this up about a year or so ago. Whether you can weight test them or whatever. He bought this whole subject up and it got shot down. Just saying, for the record, he bought it up, tried to get it moving, and it didn't move.
I'm open for anything, but like I said, my local loggers, I have zero trouble with them. It's just the ones coming from out of different parts, is the ones I'm having the trouble with.
Are you familiar with an impact fee that we could charge these?
I can charge them if they, like the one on Untitled Chapter, I can charge them. They messed up, knocked a big hole in the road, they crushed the pipe, they filled the ditch up. Yes, I can take them to court and charge them. But if they're just driving up and down the road, as far as everything I've been told, if it tears up the road is inferior. We got tar and shit roads, and I'm sorry, they're not designed for 80,000-pound loads.
There's really no way, I mean, just looking at a vehicle, there's no way to tell if they're overloaded.
Not without a scare.
Is there a way to change the load limit on the roads?
No, that's what Mr. Black wanted to do. You can, but you have to get a firm that comes in and they test the road, test every pipe, and they'll come in and set up kind of a weight limit thing. But as far as I know, no other county has ever done it after they found out how much trouble and how much expense it is. Because when he suggested that, yes, I took off running with it. Thinking, well, if there's something I can do to 18 and make them only haul 10 tons, I would do it. But I can't. Wish I could.
Right, is that what you're referring to, is that what they do with the bridges?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I'll check into it, I had something about 26, I've talked to a few other counties that have like an impact tax, of course, that's gonna affect your local. But that's the downside there. I can find out more details about it and see if that goes.
But it's not just this county, it's all counties.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any other questions? Commissioner Fields, any other questions about the highways and new business? Any other new business? Entertain one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second, all those in favor say aye. Stand.